HCB fam, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball. I hope you guys are well. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. If you're new, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff here. But look, in saying that, it's episode 25 of Ball and All Chat. Welcome. Thank you for being part of this. The rundown is there's some news going on in the NRL. I give you guys my opinions and maybe even, sort of run off some discussion points as well. But in saying that, before I get into it, hit that intro. Here we go, episode 25. Now, guys, look, it's saying that the news has been rife. A lot of news, actually, I think, anyway. A lot of things you can sort of dissect and sort of digest. That's right, like a KFC meal. But look, in saying that, I want to get into it, right? 3, 2, 1, let's go. So we all know, Lawton was handed a 4-week suspension for his spear tackle, tip tackle, dump truck tackle, whatever you want to call it, on Cameron Murray. Now, obviously, the ruling is, that's illegal. It's illegal play. You go back to the 80s and you probably play on. Although in some cases, I think some people did get suspended. But look, in saying that, obviously there was no intention, no ill will intention from Lawton to do that. His characteristic shows that he's not that type of player. Now, if it was someone like one of those bad boys, I'm not going to point out any names, but I'm sure your mind's ticking. If it was one of those bad boys there, I'm sure they get pinned very, very bad. But it is what it is. Now, when I initially saw it, and again, please feel free to write down in the comments and tell me how wrong or how right I am. But I actually thought it wasn't a send-off. 10 minutes, absolutely, but not a send-off. I don't know. The only reason why I didn't think it was send-off is because I knew that NRL would come down hard on this dude. Like, I knew they would smack him with the law. They would throw the book at him. That's exactly what they've done. 4 weeks is a big price to pay for a tackle that was only 2 seconds. But in saying that, yes, I understand. He could have been paralyzed. I get that argument. I'm not trying to, especially Rabbitohs fans there, I'm not trying to, defend Lawton. All right? I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to see it from both ways. I understand Cameron Murray got tipped. I understand that. But it's I don't know. It's momentum. It's wrong. It was just an ugly tackle. That's what it was. However, look, in saying that, it is what it is. He now has the 4 weeks. Now, in saying that, following on to that incident, Reece Walsh got tipped up by Jack Whiten, and no, it wasn't as bad. However, still, he got his 2 weeks. So, again, yeah, look, I'm seeing that the NRL are trying to stamp this out. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard anyway. Look, I agree that Lawton should be suspended the 4 games. I agree there, but that's part of the reason why I didn't see the send-off being being part of it. A 10-minute would have been fine. Play on, and then, sort of face the thing. But like I said, Jack Whiten, he got reported but didn't get 10. And I thought that would have been a 10. That should have been a 10. But anyway, give me guys your thoughts. All right, guys. Now, the next topic of debate here is the Knights are struggling. And you know what's really funny? You go back a few weeks ago, and obviously we were talking about the Tigers. I mean, heck, I'll even throw the Bulldogs in here. The Knights and the Bulldogs are having a absolute barnstorming arm wrestling match to see who's going to come last. I don't see any of these teams improving, though in saying that obviously the Bulldogs getting that good win over the Roosters, that was a very tough win, but I must congratulate them. However, they're still not as high up as we thought. Now, particularly with the Knights, as mentioned before, why are things going upside down after they start off very hot? They were very, very good. In fact, I think people had them, up there or thereabouts in the top 8, in the higher echelon, and lo and behold, basement dwelling. You know what I mean? It's a very tough gig. Now, we understand Adam O'Brien and the transition when he was a coach, right? When he took over from the previous coach, and then coming in and trying to clean up this mess. And for me personally, I think he's done a good job. The last 2 years, if I remember correctly, the Knights have made the finals. Now, heading into the season here, especially with the positive news of Kalen Ponga getting signed and all that stuff, we now find ourselves in a bit of a debacle. Now, what's happening here? You have Kalen Ponga who signed. Great for them. Great for the Knights. Great for him. But then the Knights aren't playing well. And there's a lot of pressure. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because there was so much hype about them making things. And with Kalen Ponga as well, you know what I mean? Like, there's just this aura about them. And it just doesn't sit right with me that they're last place. I didn't have them last place. I didn't have them last place at all. I had them somewhere there. Definitely not there. And here they are. And they've got a game against the Cowboys. And I'm telling you, I think 90% of Australia is tipping the Cowboys to win this game. And how do they even get out of it? I mean, even at home, they can barely play at home, let alone traveling against a very tough team. What's happening at the Knights? And I guess the question is, why are they struggling so bad? Is it the cohesion between players? Are there things happening behind the sheds that we don't know? Sort of like similar to my lights turned off episode. When the lights are turned off, are things not as smiley as they seem to be? You know what I mean? Are there players who are against Kalen Ponga signing? Perhaps the deal he's worth. Is there a bit of an uprising? I don't know. I'll leave it there. Let you guys think about it. Give me your thoughts. 3. Toa Samoa. So basically, they have their coaching staff and all that stuff, right? Parrish as well as Frank Pritchard. If we know who Frank Pritchard is, right? One of the old school rugby league personalities. A great player in my opinion. Big barnstorming, player that he was playing for the Bulldogs. They are part of the Toa Samoa squad in terms of the coaching staff and all that. Now, apparently, the Johns brothers, though they spoke about it on media, yeah, I want to do this, yeah, we can bring them together, blah, blah, blah. That's all it was, blah, blah, blah. There was no actual application from Mr. Su'a, who is I believe, the chairman of Toa Samoa Rugby League. Now, Mr. Su'a said that, there was a lot of noise from the media, there was a lot of noise, and I don't think, he said a few individuals, but at the end of the day, when push came to shove, nobody wanted to apply. So again, typical of the media in the sense that they can talk it, but when push comes to shove, they go missing. Now, it's interesting because I was actually genuinely curious because there was the announcement of, the Andrew and Matt Johns. I don't need to tell you guys about Andrew Johns' resume. No need to. And then you add someone like Sonny Bill Williams. In my opinion, the most popular rugby league player in the history of the game, full stop. Now, when you add those 3 guys, particularly Andrew Johns, how good is that? And I just want to know where it went pear-shaped and why they didn't apply if there was an opportunity to. Why didn't they? Like looking at the Toa Samoa squad now, again, it gets a bit fruity here because you've got that, that rule that says if you play for Toa Samoa, you cannot play for Australia and or New Zealand when the World Cup comes. So again, you've got players like Luai, To'o, who are thinking, and even arguably Stephen Crichton as well, right? His name has been thrown around for Origin, which is fine. You can play Origin as well as the second tier, but you can't play, for example, Samoa and then Australia and New Zealand. That's been cut out, which I think is cool. I think it's fair. Fair's fair. We need to do it that way. That's my opinion. Now, whether you want to disagree or agree, let me know. But I think that's another topic for another episode. But again, it's juicy, it's spicy, but Toa Samoa have a good squad. Let's be honest, they do. Look at the players from the NRL teams. You know what I mean? There's a squad there. There's a very good squad there in the making. But I'm just surprised. I really am because I generally thought that there was a big push there by the Johns brothers and talk. You know what they say? Talk is cheap. It is what it is. But look, in saying that, give me your thoughts on that. Tom Burgess, yeah, that's right. Tom Burgess. We all know what to talk now. Tom Burgess is, one of the South Sydney greats in my opinion, especially for since he's been playing for quite some time and what he and Sam Burgess as well as George Burgess went through with the club and these emotion. Now, as it stands, Tom Burgess is apparently being told, hey, you can look out if you want, but at the same time, you have a 2024 player option. So Tom Burgess, from what I believe, is looking for clubs, in the 1st of November. But I think, whether he takes that 2024 option, I'm not too sure. I believe it's for 700,000K. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that who would take a player like Tom Burgess? Now, age, unfortunately, is not on his side. It's one thing I love about sport and I hate about sport as well, is that when you're young, everyone loves the young and up-and-coming player, right? You got your Fifitas, Fasua Maliawis, your Reece Walshes, you know what I mean? Your Hammers. But then when you're a bit older, it's not that you don't like, of course you do, but you know what I mean? You're always looking for the next big thing, the next new thing. And unfortunately, I think Tom Burgess is sort of slowly, I think he's full-fledged almost just about in that category there. So again, what club would take him? You look at different clubs. I've got, like, for example, the Dolphins. Again, they're recruiting, but then they're recruiting some guys who, in the older bracket as well. Sorry, may as well call them the Los Angeles Dolphins. But no, I just kidding. There's a basketball joke for those who don't know the Lakers. But look, the Dolphins could. I mean, if you look at a club like the Dragons, potentially. Hey, even a bit of a dark horse here. You go for a team like maybe even the Titans, potentially. But look, in saying that, who would take him? Who would take someone like him? And in your opinion, of a fan from a different club, would you take him? I guess I can turn to myself as a Warriors fan. Would I take him? I mean, for the right price, I guess I would. But look, in saying that, anyone is different. Everyone's different. But tell me your thoughts here. But yeah, Tom Burgess, well, I'm sure once he's on the market, I'm sure people will be buying. You'd have to. I think he's a good quality player. He still has a lot to offer the clubs he plays for. And obviously is a Rabbitoh. Is a good Rabbitoh, has been a good, loyal Rabbitoh player for sure. Is Wayne Bennett having a hard time recruiting? Or does he have an ace or two or three up his sleeve? So guys, we know what's happening at the moment. It doesn't matter if you're following your team. It doesn't matter if you're neck deep into the NRL. Obviously heading into Magic Round next week, which I cannot wait for. You're always going to be hearing these things, right? Dolphins, Wayne Bennett, signings and all this. That's all you'll be hearing in the background. That is what it is. It's always going to be there. Now, we have seen the media, the tabloids, potential players that could have gone there but didn't. Ponga's one. But then you hear of players like Munster, right? Up in the air about his contract for 2024. Granted, he's playing for the Storm next year. And then obviously, these all that fantasy stuff as well, all between that. Now, look, in saying that, with Wayne Bennett, does he really have a hard time? Was he just sort of, he's sort of biding his time, waiting, because we got to understand, though some may laugh at Wayne Bennett, just remember this guy's a mastermind, right? He's a mastermind. He's a walking, talking GOAT, right? He has been there. He has done that. He knows it. You know what I mean? This guy is a mastermind. Now, when it comes to selection of players and stuff, again, like I said, though we may laugh because, hey, who wants to go there? I wouldn't be surprised if heading into 2023, 2024, we get a few jumps. You know what I'm talking about. Look at the flag behind me. I don't want to say too much there, but I'm sure you can get to what I'm saying. I'm sure there's going to be players potentially moving there. Now, obviously, other clubs, you want to keep your players. Absolutely, you do. But at the same time, I think Wayne Bennett's, as he talked about David Fifita, he brought up David Fifita as well. He's someone he's looking at. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of your thoughts on him, Wayne Bennett is just that quote-unquote rugby league father. He's that rugby league. He's that father figure for a lot of the players. You know what I mean? From players from the Tigers to the Warriors to the Titans to the Broncos to the Rabbitohs, to the Knights. He just has this aura about him. Just this thing about him that attracts players to him. You know what I mean? Like I think it's like a fusion of genuine care, concern, empathy, and also that hard-nosed approach of you can do it and don't you dare muck me around. And I think those are just the ingredients there for something special. That's what I think anyway. Side note, Jack Arrow to the Dolphins in the future. Bookmark it. Anyway, I just thought I'll just throw that. I don't know, I just had a random thought just say that. But anyway, but yeah, look, Wayne Bennett, for me personally, I think he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. And I honestly think that 2024-25 period, game over, man. Game over. It's open house for sure. I think Wayne Bennett will have the last laugh. I really mean that. And to be fair with you, why not, man? So, following on with Wayne Bennett, here's another comment that he made, right? If you start listening to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. That's what Wayne Bennett said. Now, I want to try and dissect this quote because obviously, Rugby League, NRL, only in the sense, is looked at in many different ways. You've got the stakeholders, you've got you've got the board, you've got your abdos, right? And then you've got your you've got your Vlandis, and then you have your coaches, you have your players, you got the refs, you got the staff members, then you have your then you have your fans, us, right? Maybe in the mascots. But you get what I mean? There's just so many angles and different positions you can look at rugby league for a different set of lens, right? It's one thing to be like myself, watching the Warriors games, getting emotionally invested, crying every bloody time. And there's a difference between me and Abdo, right? Who's looking at it from a profit lens, who's looking at it from a way of trying to govern the game to try and make it profitable not only for now but for the future, expansion, so on and so forth, right? Him and Belandis, which I really applaud, because rugby league, in my opinion, needs to have a progressive approach. If it's not a progressive approach, it'll die. And I'll get into that little thing later on. But yes, in saying that, however, I don't know, like that comment regarding fans. Look, regardless of that comment or regardless of what he made, he thought I think us fans as a collective, we play a big part in this game. No, that's right. We're not necessarily the ones who makes the rules or the calls. No, you know what I mean? Like, we can say whatever we want and the game will still be governed and ruled the way it is. But at the same time, our views matter. Your views matter, right? In regards to how we want to watch the game and in regards to our teams winning or losing, we matter. So, for him to say that, though you may get fans who aren't the best or have the best opinions, I know I've fallen in that category many times. And you may have fans with good opinions. I think for me, it doesn't matter. You can't really, differentiate the two, because ultimately we're both fans seeing it different ways and or the same way, whatever it is, right? So again, with me, the way I look at it is, if you start listening to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. Well, you know what? So be it. If you do, then guess what? You'll be listening to your audience. Simple as that. And I mean that in the sense that you'll actually get down to see how us as fans feel about the way the game is played and governed. But obviously, again, I think he's, when it comes to the trolls, I'm not talking about listening to the trolls. All right, I'm talking about listening to those who really have a genuine word to say. But look, in saying that, rugby league is, even the trolls want to talk, and that's just the way it goes. So again, but yeah, like I said, if you start listening to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. Well, about the fans, does the game exist? Food for thought. PNG. So Papua New Guinea want to actually expand. They want to actually be the 18th team. Now, the way I look at this, it's, how do I say this? I've touched on this before many, many months ago when the subject was brought up. I like the fact that PNG want to be in the NRL. I do. But I'm always going to come back to the emphasis of, do they have the resources? And if they do, would people want to live and play in PNG? Like, you just can't create a PNG team solely for people from PNG. I mean, I get it in that sense that, yeah, it's pretty obvious, and then it defeats the purpose, because you may as well just have the SP Hunters, which you have, and or the PNG international team. You see, the point of having NRL teams is, although it may be location specific, i.e. Dragons in Illawarra, the Sharks in Cronulla, obviously Warriors in New Zealand, the Storm in Melbourne, although it may be locational like that, you still get players from different parts of the world and or parts of Australia and New Zealand coming over and playing for these clubs. Josh Curran, New South Wales Warriors, right? Cameron Munster, Queensland, Victoria with the Storm, right? You know what I mean? Jack Whiten, New South Wales, Canberra, ACT. You know what I mean? Like, and to have a team like PNG, I'm just really unsure as to how they're going to want this to happen. I mean, are they going to do it and then just want majority PNG players? And I haven't even touched on other topics as well. Like, that's just one sort of point. Now, the other point as well, I touched on resources. Obviously, when it comes to, and again, I don't mean this in a degrading way, so forgive me, because it's not, though I'm talking about, hey, I'm Tongan, right? And again, I would have the same thing for Tonga or Samoa. If they wanted to apply, it's the same thing I'd put for them, all right? It's great that they do, PNG does, but the same point is the resources. Healthcare, it's just so many factors there that need to be mitigated in order for it to actually properly function. It's all good and well to say we want to, but unless that PNG team wants to relocate to Queensland somewhere, I don't know how it's going to work. Now, in saying that, on top of that, I personally my personal opinion, I don't really see it happening. I don't see it happening. I'm not going to go out there and sound fully against it, but I will say I oppose it. I oppose it because if PNG's, then surely the next team you can bring in as a Pacific Island team and all that stuff there. And look, I understand PNG's love for the game. They're the only nation in the world where it's the national sport. I understand that, and you can't take that away. Absolutely cannot. But in terms of just in terms of if you had, you got WA there, you got New Zealand, you got South Australia, obviously the Dolphins coming through. I think that's fair enough for me. I think you go Dolphins, one team from New Zealand, one team from WA, one team from SA, and then you close the border, right? You close it up, you go from there. But yeah, I appreciate PNG in that sense. But yes, they've got the SP Hunters, they've got their national team, to be honest. And obviously, you know, they can always bring their players through, right? They can always bring their players through, which they can do. Give me your thoughts on it. You know, I don't want to come across as harsh because I still stand by what I say. But like I said, I think for me it's you know, it's New Zealand and Australia, you know, to be NRL. That's it. You know, you go, like I said, New Zealand, Australia, and Australia in terms of teams, right? That's my thoughts. What are yours? Last but not least, yes, guys, it is here. A discussion point that I want to bring up to you guys. Now, as we all know, we love the game of rugby league, right? It's a good sport. Why do you love rugby league? So for me, I love rugby league. The reason why I love rugby league, I grew up in New Zealand, and in New Zealand it's very union-based. I, however, have always personally been attracted to rugby league as a young kid. I love watching, you know, the Warriors play, obviously. Warriors playing Manly, Warriors playing Canberra, Warriors playing Panthers, Warriors this, Warriors that, you know what I mean? Like, it was just always my thing. Now, you know, as I grow up, as we all grow up, not only does it become a sport of fast-paced tackles and stuff, we also realize that there's that emotion behind it, the psychology behind it, right? It's not just a game that you just look forward to because you want to see player one versus player two, and I'm sure that's how we think, but as we get more drawn into the game, more invested in our teams, it's not just player one, but it's player with a name, right? Versus player with a name, but obviously you're drawn and you belong to that team that, you know, the Warriors or the Storm or, you know, Panthers, whatever it is, you belong to that team. So not only is it just a game that you're watching, but there's also emotion behind it. So for me, one of the reasons why I love rugby league is the genuine emotion that I have planted in that game. And as someone who makes content, I'm being serious. Like, when you see me happy, I'm happy. When you see me upset, I'm upset. I'm not going to fake. I'm not going to watch the Warriors win and be upset. I'm not going to watch the Warriors lose and be happy. You know what I mean? Like, it's genuine emotion. And on top of that as well, with rugby league, what I love about it, though, from the physical aspect, is I just love the physics behind it, right? No collision is ever the same, especially the one-on-one, right? Like, for example, a second rower or, say, Talakai makes a break. You know what I mean? Like, a fullback makes a break. And then there's that one-on-one between him and, say, the fullback or him in the center, depending on where they're positioning themselves. If the center's at fullback, red flag straight away, but you know what I mean? And just that you know, that moment where he's trying to evade this player or run through him, and the defender is doing all he can or she can to tackle this person running at them or running around them. And just that moment of, like, you know, it comes down to the core of that barbaric instinct, right? I think that's another thing we love about rugby league, because when you strip it, it's just a barbaric game, right? And regardless, we are barbaric in nature, to be honest. Now, you may disagree with that statement. I think it's a pretty strong statement, but I think it does ring true. I think that's why we like it too, is that gladiatorial, barbaric, you know, jungle aspect to it. You know what I mean? That game of just brute force. Doesn't matter what skin color you are, you know what I mean? It's just brute force, you know, mano a mano, fist on fist, muscle on muscle. And in the NRL especially, you know, it's just when you see a prop run up with the ball, you know, hit up, or when you see like a centre with the ball, or, you know, you get the fullback, you pass to the fullback, holds the ball. Oh, it's just beautiful. Running and tackling and just that pure battle of attrition is what I love about the sport. It's such a beautiful sport. But like I said, I think the core of it is that when you strip it down, it's a barbaric sport. You know, I love it. I love rugby league. Now, I follow a plethora of sports, believe me. I follow ice hockey. I follow Aussie football. I follow, you know, gridiron. I follow love basketball. You know, a little bit of rugby union. You know what I mean? Like I follow these different sports, but rugby league for me will always be my bread and butter. It will always be my Milo. But yeah, that's why I love it. You know, when you strip it down, it's just speed, strength, emotion, brothership, friendship, community, engagement. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyway, that's my thoughts there. What are yours? Why do you love rugby league? Love to hear it. Get in the comments as well. That has been Ball and All Chat. Hope you guys are well. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate it very, very much. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be doing a Ball and All Chat next week, which will be live. It'll be a special as well because I'm heading over to Brisbane next week, and I cannot wait. I hope to see you guys there. And hey, if you're a new subscriber and you're going there and you see me, hey, come say hello. But in saying that, take it easy, be well, and yeah, thanks again for being part of this. Just remember, before I go, hold the ball, take it easy. See you guys next time.